Hey everybody.
What's up?
Hi.
Howdy.
Well done.
Yeah.
That was good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have to point to whoever had to go next. You just felt it as a group.
Absolutely. I think we're at that level.
We're at that level.
Yeah.
Veterans at this.
Yes.
Sequencing is good.
So, welcome to GameVerse Pub, Crafting Game Talk. We are here today, the OG4, original 4 that started this whole podcast. And we're going to do an episode on sim racing.
Yeah.
Sim racing, boys. See this? That's sim racing equipment. We're prepared.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we can do anything, we need to do what is the most important thing in life. You know what that is, guys?
No?
Hydration?
It is hydration.
Oh, wow.
Thank God we have a pretty cow racing in the house.
One
Because,
day I'll get it.
Pretty smart. Yeah?
One day I'll get it.
One day.
One
One
day.
day. So, so that being said, to satisfy that need, we have hired our very own beer guy.
Yeah. Hi, I'm
Beer
the beer guy. Today, I'm going to take you on this episode of Brewing Around to a brewery that's really in my heart. My hometown, Elmer, Quebec. And I'm talking about the Cinquième Baron, as you can see from my hat. This brewery has it all. And that's kind of what I wanted to bring today. They brew lagers, they brew ales, all sorts of beer, very, very good. And without any ado,
I selected beers differently for each of us.
Mm.
And I'll start with our host.
That's very
The
interesting.
first one, Munjoy Hill, which is a New England IPA.
Because I love New England
This
IPAs.
guy loves New England IPAs. I'll start that again.
Thank you, sir.
This guy loves... My God.
You will get it.
This guy loves New England IPAs.
Could you stop having bloopers in my moment? All right. Thank you, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Very thoughtful.
Next up, it's a gift to someone. And it's the gift of Gab.
Oh. That's what we get when we do this podcast.
There you go. So that's a stout.
Nice.
Then, to the buddy on my left here, we got a Zilch, which
Ooh.
is a non-alcoholic
Ooh,
beer.
yay. Nice.
Non-alcoholic
Thank you
pale ale.
very much.
I know how much you like non-alcoholic
Yes. And it's a pale ale, too.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you.
beer. And for myself, I have a Taiga, which is a West Coast IPA, so a bit more of a bitter beer.
Okay. All right.
On you can say whatever you want if you do, but on behalf of everybody, thank you very much, beer guy.
Yeah.
Let's get a Kraken. Yes. All right, boys. I raise my glass with you, fine gentlemen, to this great episode on sim racing. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
It is a gift.
That's delicious.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm going for a rerun. Thank you very much. Well, gentlemen, how about we get to it? We're here today to talk about sim racing, which is something that you guys introduced me to. I don't do it at your level, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. Have my own rig, and I'm happy to bring sim racing here to the table so that we can all discuss today.
That's nice. That's it's gonna be one of my favorite subjects we discuss here.
All right, so to get started, guys, we're going to do what we call a blitz, okay? Where, last episode we each had a minute to say anything we want about the main topic we were going to talk about, and then we went into... But this time I thought time would be most valuable if we cut it in half. So we'll have 30 seconds to say anything we want on sim racing right now, uninterrupted. We good with that?
Absolutely.
You have a timer?
I have a timer.
Perfect. Who would like to start?
I think we should have Gab start.
Because we have the gift of Gab.
And not only that, he's been a veteran of sim racing, and I think G2. But I don't know which one of you came first, but I know
He did.
okay. And I
He
think
did.
Gab
I'm the
is
oldest, but he did.
Yeah, and I think he's the biggest sim racing fan here, honestly.
Okay.
Sure.
Are you ready?
I think so. Well, there's a lot to say. 30 seconds is not a lot of time, so this intro is really taken away from that 30 seconds. What I'm going to say is that it's the type of gaming that... It's the type of gaming that gets me to sit in a chair and just game for the longest time, and gets me engaged through a bigger period of time. It's competitive, and competitive against others, competitive against.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I feel like the first 15 seconds was a complete blowout.
But it was funny. It's great material. Thanks, bud. Hopefully you'll get to say the
Point
rest.
was that?
Yeah. Played it well. You want to finish your sentence, or
Nope.
are we making
No, I'm
strict
good.
rules here?
Strict rules.
I
I'm
don't
gonna,
mind.
I'm gonna
Strict
do
rules.
the,
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna do the buzzer. And everything.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
okay,
needed
cool.
the first 15 seconds to gather my thoughts. But that's why I went that way.
We pretty much got the gist of what you wanted to say. I think.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go with the brother, please.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
you
I
have
can
the
press
timer.
the button.
You can press the button.
I'm the acting button presser.
Okay, perfect. Well, you tell me when I start.
Okay, start.
I like the competitive aspect of it, but I like that it's so rewarding. So the more time you put into it, the better you get at it, and you can surprise yourself very much in your own skills if you continue to work at it. And I think that's the end of it, because my it's like 3
Can
seconds.
you let
left.
me do my job?
Well,
I would have
you
forgotten
weren't-
it.
Yeah, you were forgotten it. So.
I would have forgotten it.
By the way,
All right.
All
How
right.
about we go
Yeah.
with the third in line here, the beer guy.
I only started sim racing a few years ago, and honestly, I can say I really love it. I love the competitiveness, but I also love, I don't know, just driving on different circuits, learning those circuits, and just like shifting your mind a little bit to just relax and focus on one thing. Like you guys have played F1. You're so focused. There's nothing else. As soon as you focus on something else outside of the track, you're done. You're done. So it's just like being in a real car, and with the gear that we have, it's unbelievable.
Perfect.
very nice.
And
Very
yes,
nice.
and our latest races show exactly that. While somebody just says like, "Oh, I like this so much," and this next second they're in the wall. So yeah, it's pretty funny.
Okay.
That was
I
great.
always thought of you as the Max Verstappen of sim racing, but for your league, because you get mad a lot.
No.
Verstappen gets mad a lot.
So
You seem like you'd be rude to your engineer.
So you showed up once in the past year to play, and that year, it just turns out that Gab turns on the pit assists.
He was pissy all night.
He was. That's the race I saw.
I was
Verstappen.
getting pissy in the practice.
He was.
I said here. It irritates me. It just
Yeah.
irritates me, and I mean,
But the realism, Piel. The
What?
realism. Come on.
the realism. But I think that there's other things to focus on.
We're doing
other.
sim racing.
Yeah, but not.
We're doing sim racing, Piel.
Okay.
But you know what?
I'm just. I'm
and
just
I'll
messing
just
with you.
I'll close with that. I think there's other things that people can improve on before having the pit thing.
But that was
We
so
can
the
all
whole
get
pit
better.
thing is part of the. We're going to talk about that more in depth. Not just the pit thing, but
Do you
like
have a
adding-
formation lap too in there?
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have our host, and you get 30 seconds. That will start now.
Well, I wanted to start about the time I played for the first time. It was with my friends, and then we played the Zoom League, and it was really, really fun. And then after that, no, I can't keep up at that pace. We did play the Zoom League, and it introduced me to it. The mistake I did was to start everything with no assists whatsoever. Try to get good without them, and I think that's the mistake I made that made me want to stop a little earlier. Bonne fête, Piel. All right, so thank you for this blitz. Now let's get talking, and I have specific subjects that I would like to bring us into conversation with. So first one here is sim racing hardware. Okay, so it'll go by whoever wants to talk first, kind of says what they want to do, and then we reflect on it. So I just want to talk about the hardware, like these right here, the rigs that you had, the rigs that you tried, the rigs maybe you didn't own but you went somewhere else. I want to talk about hardware.
Yep. Sure.
So okay, would somebody like to start?
Sure, I'll talk about it.
Okay.
I'll say this about the hardware: it's it's getting to a point where it's really simulating the feeling of being in a car and the sensation that you get through the steering wheel, connecting your tires to the asphalt and stuff, the resistances that you get from it. But it came a long way. There's always advancements, and that's what fascinates me about sim racing, is that there's the game engines that simulate that simulate the actual track, the temperature of your tires, and as you turn through the tire degradation, or your suspension, the aerodynamics. So they're capable of simulating that to a certain degree, but on top of it, giving the inputs for that hardware for us to actually feel it. There's nothing like it. That's why it's called a simulation, obviously, but it's really, really impressive.
So my question to you is, I still have the Logitech G29. Is that the one I have?
believe, yeah. I
Okay.
believe so.
And you have very different with a lot more force feedback. That must play a huge role in the experience, right? I haven't really tried yours much.
So I'll get that one.
Okay.
I'll answer that one. What you have there is what will get you to 98% of your potential. It's I'd call it what?
I'm like, you said it will get you to 98% of your potential. I'm like,
what I mean by that is your lap time usually. And the main difference there is not the main difference, but the wheel you have is I'd say middle of the line. That's your basic, like, I'm getting serious into sim racing. I'd like to upgrade from the controller. You can get cheaper wheels, but it's on off inputs more than anything. So I wouldn't consider to get into those that type of wheel and pedal. What you have there is getting more precise with your inputs, and to a certain degree some feedback. You got, I believe the G29 has a 2NM motor, so you're going to get up to that force of feedback.
it makes it fun, right? I know
Absolutely.
it's not the real feel, and I always blast that setting to the max, right? I want to get the most out of it, to feel it the most, but it makes it fun.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So
I think it's great bang for buck.
absolutely.
Like, it's one of the best machines out there.
So for a setup like yours, I mean, the wheel is about 400 Canadian. I guess in the US it's actually pretty similar, probably even 300 USD. Plus you can get a pretty basic stand for it like you have right there. So all in all, 500 Canadian, you're pretty much good to go. If you go into higher end stuff, we have the Fanatec stuff, which has been bought out by Corsair lately. But what that will get you is that the motors, first and foremost, are have a higher force. It's not necessarily that you want the higher force. It's that it's gonna distinguish between
Your peaks.
your peaks, exactly. So
What does that mean? Your
So
peaks?
basically,
So you're
you
testing
have more
the limits.
range.
yeah,
You have more range, so that when it has zero force, but you can go up to a higher degree of force. So basically, the game has a higher range of putting, like, instead of putting in between 0 and 2 Newton meters, and you have to detect like how much force it has to, how much resistance it has to give you. Then it can detect, you can move from up to here, up to here, up to here.
So I'll put it in a more straight up way. You can just feel your car with more precision. You know
Thank
how
you.
you're driving in the street?
Yes,
Yeah.
That was long, boys.
what he said.
no, but really, like, let's say you hit something, like you're hitting a turn and you're at, it should get you at 75% of your force. Well, distinguishing between 1.5 Nm of force versus 1.9, which you would lose it, versus distinguishing between 7.5 and 9. There's the difference, right?
Yeah.
It's easier. So you get more precise because you get more precise feedback and you have more precise inputs. And I would say that the most important upgrade you do from a G29 is actually the pedals, not the wheel.
Really?
Yes. Mostly for trail braking, so in your brake pedal.
Okay, so before we get to pedals, is there more to say on wheels?
There's so much more to say on wheels.
I know.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
trying to keep it short here. The wheel, like we have interchangeable. We have a base that you can interchange the wheel, so that makes it fun. So that you can have, for example, I have my wheel right there. That's my F1 wheel, and then when I'm racing, sometimes GT cars, I use this round wheel. It gets the different feel for it. But like, depending on where you play, most of the sim racing community is on PC. But you can get wheels with screen. You can get wheels total replicas of F1 and GT cars if you want.
Nice.
And the technology, I think they're up to 20 NMs or maybe 30 NMs.
25, I
25.
believe.
So that's a very strong
strong.
motor. That's
strong.
you get into an accident, you let go because it'll break.
Yeah, I
your
remember they
wrist.
told us that at that sim racing place we went.
Yeah. And I'd say for wheels, like I only have the F1 wheel, which also works for GT
The
cars.
same one as those?
Exactly the same.
Okay.
But I tried playing rally with it. Does not work. So I had to borrow JF's round wheel.
Yeah,
because
I get it.
You
I
need
get-
to move around
yeah.
a lot more.
Okay.
So it depends on the use.
I want to say about those two wheels right here, it's very easy thing to do, and it goes against my nature, but I have to, by respect to a friend. Da, 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 da. Max Verstappen. Which says a lot
Beautiful
about
Red
our
Bull.
friendship. I hope you know. But yeah, I want to give a shout out because that is, although I don't like that team specifically, that's a really nice color and design.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
I think that's what I like about wheels too, and about sim racing. You can decorate your setup, your a whole rig, however you want. I got some Red Bull stickers on the side of my seat.
Nice.
I have a sticker in the back with my name and the Canadian flag.
Nice.
Like just all sorts of things that you can do to
So obviously,
rabbit hole.
Pimp my car.
Yeah,
exactly.
you bring up a good point. Like at this point, we all have complete rigs. I'd say with well, I do. We have a bucket racing seat. All of us. Like mine's blue.
Not all of us. Must be nice, boys.
Well,
I had to buy all these microphones instead.
Exactly.
Well, at least you can say your rig is on wheels.
So what I must say is that when you get up to bigger stuff like this, you actually do need a rigid frame that's made for it.
Okay.
Otherwise, the forces will probably break your rickety frame there.
And for someone who doesn't play sim racing, is this wheel only good on sim racing, or like can I put this in a car?
No.
I don't think
No.
so.
You seem like you have a fun
Can you-
fact here.
Can you please put it on my car?
Man, I thought you were going to say that they made them so that, you know what? Actually, on this version of this race car, these fit on.
So the opposite is true. You can take a real steering wheel, take a hub that, for example, in this case, Fanatec does, bolt it on, and have your actual racing wheel when you sim race.
So one thing I want to say about it, and I tested it with yours, is I guess it's the same wheel, so it's going to do the same. The haptic
Yep.
of this is the satisfaction of this click
unreal,
compared to
right?
It's unreal. Like
Never gets old. Never
like
gets
everything, just the way it turns.
The shifting.
It does turn.
Oh, that's just this. It's like it's
So
really-
those are magnetic paddles, and that's a awesome upgrade if you're trying to upgrading from just like regular switch paddles.
It's not the same, right?
Yeah.
throw it in the garbage.
Can you put this there? But yes, it's an awesome upgrade for sure.
Very
and,
cool.
And I know you're not seeing this, but well, I could show you, but there's so many dials that you can really, with sim racing, especially if you have high end equipment, if you want to simulate the whole 9 yards, you can. You really can.
But are we getting into stuff like fuel
Absolutely.
management and
brake
all that
balance
stuff? Brake
directly,
balance?
like when I play Assetto Corsa, I'm playing with my brake balance. I'm playing with my engine map.
Really?
You can start engine sequence and
He knows
Yeah.
a lot about racing, man. Because you need to know a lot about racing at a base level, a lot about it, to go into that stuff.
so
I think you need to know.
I
the trucks.
learned as I went
Yeah, and
for the engine map and for the
What's an engine map?
well,
So-
the engine map is how much power your engine is giving you at any
your
given
fuel
time.
rate.
Shouldn't it
basically.
always be maximum?
No, because then you're going to consume more fuel.
So yeah, exactly. So
You have to
Assetto
balance your
Corsa mainly
So
does
deep.
endurance racing. So you need to manage not only your tires but also your fuel.
I rewatched the race of last year where Russell didn't pit a third time and went directly for the win and beat Hamilton, right? Because he wasn't supposed to be there, but he managed apparently his tires a lot, and I'm guessing the gas. Is that what he did? Like, was he
not the
really
gas
good at
necessarily.
managing those things?
So F1 rules have changed in the last 20 years. It's been at least 20 years that gas isn't refueled during a race. So what we were saying about the fuel itself, it applies more to endurance racing, like the 24 hours of Le Mans,
Yeah,
for
okay.
example. So, but F1 30 years ago, you could refuel during a race and you could pit a lot of times, but that affected your strategy because less fuel, you're lighter, you go faster, right?
Yeah.
So, but you could fuel a lot more and then stay longer on harder tires.
Interesting. Anyways, it just shows how deep you can go if you want to, and you don't have to. So you can be a me type amateur, have a lot of fun, do my thing, and then if you want to progress, and if you don't, that's fine. Then you can with these types of upgrades.
Absolutely,
and
you
I'm sure
find
even
it-
with these, because there's a lot of buttons on that.
Like I said, you can do whatever you do with this, you can probably do with that
Or close.
or close to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the haptic feedback.
Depends how deep you want to go into it, right?
Yeah.
You start with a basic, which is the Logitech. I think it's a great entry steering wheel. And then when you want to progress, well, I think a good mid-range equipment would be Fanatic.
Yeah.
Fanatic.
Fanatic.
But if you want to have like the most the best simulation for sim racing, it's unfortunately it's really locked behind PC.
Yeah.
So because you need that processing power.
Yeah, of course. But now we're getting into another part. We're going to
Okay.
get it. So
Perfect.
let's get into it, right? Because I think it's going to include what you're talking about. So the evolution of in-game realism. Okay, and I just want to start this off because this will probably be a you guys talking kind of thing, because you know a lot more about it. But from doing basic research, what I was able to understand is, of course, it's the evolution of it, like any game style or game, is crazy in the past years. But there's still a very big difference between what we're doing, or even what you're doing, and on the computer side, like you said, with iRacing. iRacing is something completely different, right? It's for real professionals that do this, which is not for the lighthearted.
No. And like if I may, I'll
Sure, I'm
start
done.
the-
This segment is just about the evolution of in-game realism. So the
So-
physics, graphics, car handling. Track
when
realism.
I started sim racing, I started on the controller. It was on a PS4, and it was Gran Turismo Sport. And you got me into that.
Yeah.
Then I got really good with the controller, so I was like, I'll buy a wheel. So I bought a wheel. You bought a wheel, and we started racing a lot, and we got better and better and better and better with that Logitech that you have right there.
Yeah.
So because we kept at it, but you realize at some point that Gran Turismo offers you just so much of realism. Just it offers you the simulation
so much
but it's
in a limiting way,
in
or
a
in
limiting
a lot?
way.
It's
Okay.
it's
In
a little
a
bit arcadey.
So it's a
Just
simcade.
Yeah.
Really?
They like to call it a simcade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just wanted to touch your hand.
They call it, a simcade. I guess the F1 games are as well.
Same.
The F1 games, but anyways, the real simulators are, well, I guess there's Assetto Corsa Competizione on PS5, but it's Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, iRacing. Oh, I can't remember the name. now.
Automobilista.
Beam,
Oh, BeamNG, but that's
BeamNG,
yeah, that's not a
Automobilista.
racing.
Why did you not just say Assetto Corsa
Competizione.
competition.
Because it's called competizione. Because that's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
I know,
It's an
but-
Italian
Okay.
studio.
Okay.
Very glitchy game, but very great.
The level
engine.
of disrespect.
It's
that
great
Shawn
for all
just
the
gave.
tifosi.
Yeah.
I learned that word in Drive to Survive. What tifosi means.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like which one is the best that simulates the best? Is it iRacing? Is it Assetto Corsa with a bunch of mods? Or is it like Project Cars?
Maybe it depends what
I
type of
love
cars.
Project Cars too. But apparently some people don't think it's the best
So it
one.
doesn't. So apparently it doesn't simulate authentically.
Oh, okay.
The next question is, what does each game do compared to the other?
Well, there-
Oh, we're
we'll
getting
jump
into
into
it.
That's
it.
fine.
So
That's fine.
iRacing, what I think the gold standard remains iRacing. It is a subscription service, and I mean gold standard not by graphics, if that's what you rate things by, but the engine itself and the competition. So the spirit of sim racing, iRacing is the gold standard because you're racing against people that are as serious as you. You basically pay per month to be on the service, and the I guess the simulation of all of the components of a track of a car are in there. It's still a game. It's still over servers, so there's
But that's what the real F1 drivers use when they use
Absolutely.
their rigs. Okay, so let's talk within those probably, or even the ones that we do use, the evolution and just graphics, car handling, track realism. How did you see, let's say from when you first started to right now, how much can you feel the tires?
I have a
like
question
stuff like
for
this,
Piel.
right?
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interject. The one you were missing is R Factor.
Oh, yes, that's it. R Factor 2. What about you? What experience do you have? You have Gran Turismo and you have F1.
I've tried other.
Yeah, you have.
I've tried other games. I've tried NASCAR. I've tried Rally. Any games that are cheap, I try to download them and I try to find another kind of racing. And I think that's what's nice about sim racing and about like there's so many games. There's so many different styles of racing. It's like pick your poison. Hey, if that one's not good for you, change.
What I find is that there's a big gap of like, well, I play iRacing only, and it's like the simulation. You really hardcore, but the truth is that it's so much fun to race. Like if you want to race Gran Turismo, even though it's the simcade, do it.
It is
It's
fun.
so
I
much
love
fun.
Gran Turismo.
And Gran Turismo is such a
So-
gorgeous game.
Yeah, it
the
is.
graphics are so nice.
To me, I think they succeeded with GT Sport more than GT7, and I'm not taking away anything from GT7 because it honors the franchise a lot more than GT Sport does. But what GT Sport does better is that it gets you to race against real humans, and that's where the fun is to me. Not necessarily modifying cars and trying to beat AIs because AIs are predictable, right? So to me, the more successful of the Gran Turismo series as a sportman, if you will, as a racer, is GT Sport, not GT7. I couldn't get enough of GT Sport when we were playing that. GT7, I played it out of principle, but that's it.
Okay, that's GT7 is the one I started with.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
probably why
when
you
I
quit.
started with you guys, no, I remember I really enjoyed it, and then you got to your Zoom League in F1,
Yeah.
and that's where like we completely abandoned GT7, and it was just F1, and that's when I tried to be at your level, and I wasn't able to do it, and I
F1's a
quit.
different beast. F1's a
Yeah,
different beast.
it is.
It's
It is.
fun. It's fun. Yes, it's SimCady, but it's actually really they do it really well. Like just for the racing,
It
the
does
feel
feel
of
that, yeah.
the feel of speed and everything. It feels nice.
And
for sure.
it's a different kind of racing in the sense that to get the most performance, you probably need to get faster so that the aero works better. So the more you slow down, to take corners, you're gonna have less performance. So you slow even more down, right?
Do you remember when we started playing F1 2019?
Yeah.
I was playing on my remote.
Yes.
I was playing on my controller. at first, and that's how I started. That's how I got into sim racing. And then after that, well, you guys had your Logitechs, and I was like, oh, geez, I gotta have something more than this. Like, this just wasn't enough for me, and yeah, I got that Logitech, and then the rest is history.
Yeah.
I was about to say the rest is history, and I'm like, wait for it. Nice. I was going to ask earlier, but are pretty much everybody that do sim racing or that purchase the F1 game or the GT Sport or GT7, does pretty much everybody have a rig of some sort, or do what are the stats? Do most people play with a remote still? Like, I don't know any.
Most people play with a remote because
Really?
most people are casual gamers, and first of all, it's a very big title. Like, if we're talking about we're concentrating on PlayStation games right now because that's most of our setups. That's how we got to play together. But yeah, so if you have a PlayStation, you've played Gran Turismo. It's one of the exclusive games, anyways.
It's made for controller.
Yeah.
The F1 games are made with controller in mind.
Is it
as well.
PlayStation exclusive? Really?
No.
No.
Okay.
Gran Turismo is.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
absolutely. It's a
exclusive?
flagship game. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a huge advantage to PlayStation.
exactly. That's one of the reasons I got into PlayStation, actually, because I had
Really?
never played a Gran Turismo game.
Okay, that's right. You had an Xbox at one point.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's a good point. Like, most gamers, like the demographics of gamers are children, and I mean, parents buy stuff. So,
I would love to see the stats, like, without getting this is a sim racing thing.
in terms
I
of
would-
hours played, that's for sure children.
No, but compare
Put bad
children.
parents
what
out
are
there.
you? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Children? Are you talking about like how old are you talking about? Like teenage years for sure. They're gonna play a lot more video games in terms of hours played, as a group for sure. But let's say you put 20-year-olds up to 50-year-olds right now and put all their gaming time together. I'm pretty sure you get a lot more.
I doubt
lot
it.
more gaming time.
We
than-
live in a world of shitty parents, guys.
So, maybe. But
No, just play a game.
what I'd say is that you want the biggest population for your game, right? And
yeah.
It's easier if they already they all have consoles on at this point, and if they optimize the games for controller play, then it gets them into it. Like Piel just said it. Like, he started on controller, like, oh, this is fun. I'll get the Logitech, and lo and behold, he's on a Fanatec now. So like, you progress like that. As adults, we have the means to progress to those things, but it doesn't mean that it pushes away the controller folks. Like, actually, the Gran Turismo Sport Championships back like 5 years ago, I think from the top 62 of them made it in the finals from controllers.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
That's-
which is
that's
actually
impressive.
very impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
impressive. You pass like
Well,
that.
why would you even want so? Because the way I'm thinking is, why would you even want to play with a remote, knowing you could have the steering wheel function available? It's like if I wanted to play mini golf walkabout from VR, right? If I want to play that game with a remote. After I've played, knowing that there's a way to play in VR. No, I'm not going to play that game if I know I can play it.
I've got the answer. The answer is money.
Yeah.
So basically, is available money to buy the
Like,
the rig.
We're playing worldwide, right? And
I guess.
and you're playing against people in poorer countries that actually are renting a PlayStation in a freaking computer shop there sometimes, that are just logging in and getting their 1 hour of time. It's a controller.
Yeah, but there's also the fact that these machines were invented recently too.
Oh,
like
yeah,
we're
there's that too.
we're one of the first generations that actually have access to some of this gear that has force feedback. That's
true.
And I find that my rig, if I keep it at my house like that and I don't sell it at some point in time, I'm gonna be able to play for my kids to play, and if they get into it, then they have access to it. And
They'll get
even
better
these-
ones.
Yeah, and even the Logitech G29, like, that's still good. It's still good.
Your kids play.
Yeah.
More than I do. More than I do.
So I think
Yes,
more
sir.
people are getting exposed, and more kids are getting exposed. So I mean, it's a growing community as
Yeah.
well, and you see that those kids are getting good
Yeah,
on this.
yeah. And I know that we're talking about sim racing, but a great use for my rig, even though I'm in a racing seat, sometimes I just plug in my computer and do American Truck Simulator
Oh yeah, you are.
or Farming Simulator.
That
Oh yeah,
has
farming
to
simulator
do.
is super fun with the rig.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think that's important for you to mention other sim racing types because even truck simulator counts, right? The next question I have for you is considering all the games that you can use your rig with, okay? Which one is your favorite? Which one is the king of sim racing for you? Not like, okay, no, it's iRacing because it can do better than every. No, not that. For you, which is the king or queen of sim racing?
So our favorite like racing game.
Yeah. That you can use
Yeah,
with your
I'll go first.
device.
I'll go first. Mine is hands down Assetto Corsa Competizione. It is the best.
Competition.
See.
It is the best sim racing game that I suck at it, but it's honestly really intense.
It's frustratingly hard.
Yes.
Probably the best. I'll go another way and say GT Sport as an all-time.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Absolutely. F1 obviously up there. We're in our 5th sim racing season.
Zoom.
And ACC probably my favorite in terms of this is like the perfect sim.
ACC. Assetto Corsa
Competizione.
Competizione. Yeah, that's
I
right.
did it on purpose.
Yeah, but
Thank you. I'm going to start saying it like that. Now it's nice.
Yeah.
I get it.
But I think the
Competizione.
balance of and the game is pretty much dead at this point with GT7. I would guess I haven't logged in for years, but in terms of balance and introduction to sim racing itself, GT Sports takes the cake.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
pick.
For no, I can't. I just can't.
Okay.
For the racing aspect of it, I like playing F1 because there's bigger stakes and there's more precision to it.
Yeah.
Whereas Gran Turismo, like it's more arcadey, and I find that sometimes there's more contact too. And but I love Gran Turismo. I love the arcade of it. It's always nice. I love playing the challenges. You know, the challenges are what keeps you motivated. There's some new ones. You need to collect cars. Like there's a different side of things than just racing. There's something outside the game, and there's something different.
I agree because I'm debating between F1 and Gran Turismo 7. Just because I haven't played Gran Turismo Sport, which I have it, I'm guessing you can play the same tracks, right?
Pretty much,
So
yeah.
it's pretty much the
It's
same
a
thing, but
very,
there's
very
probably
similar.
better stuff with it. But I only played Gran Turismo 7, and I remember that feel I had when we would say, okay, this week we're working on this track. So everybody would try to be the king of the lap or best lap or something, or the sector, or there was something about we can competizione with each other. And but there was a feel to it, and I really remember miss that feel, which doesn't have it in F1. Although F1 is awesome because I'm starting to know the tracks, and for me, that's what I love about sim racing is knowing that I invested before in understanding how a track works and what it looks like, how it feels like, what gear do I go to when I get into some corners. Like I play Bahrain, since naturally it was always the first one in F1.
Yeah.
Well, I know Bahrain by heart now.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know Japan. I don't know a lot of other ones. Like I know
You don't want to know Japan right now.
It's the last race we did last night.
That
my
was
God.
a
I think like
terrible
what
race.
3 guys finished with points.
2.
Two guys finished with points in our league last night.
Did somebody else did Seb get
Crimp?
one?
Yeah, no, Seb was
Crimp,
12.
Crimp got the fastest lap. He got back. Yeah. No,
Just
nobody.
2 guys.
Nobody.
Just having
So-
two can.
Right.
It's the worst.
But there's a thing where the first time I do a track, I don't necessarily like it as much as when I redo it. Because if you do a whole race on one track, by the end of it, you're
Remember the part
getting
when
to
I
know
s-
the track. Right?
Remember the part when I said like it's a very rewarding type of experience.
Yes.
It's that sim racing is not for people that want to just like, I'm gonna start racing and I'm gonna do this track, and then they unfortunately they go slow and they don't understand why they go slow. Sim racing rewards hard work. It rewards practicing, and it rewards like knowing the track.
You can get a good lap fairly quickly.
Oh yeah.
You can get a great lap by investing 10 times as much.
Yes.
I do want to say as well that what's something that Gran Turismo did well compared to other games, even in F1, and F1 is the game I play the most, is you get to learn the tracks or the natural way of taking corners or natural way to take a track without a racing line with Gran Turismo. You don't actually need the racing line to learn the track. You just need the brake indicator just to help you. Oh, that's my braking point. And then you adjust to where it is. You never need the racing line. I feel like in F1, you really, really need the racing line to really learn the circuit. At some point,
precise.
You can... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can get it off at some point as soon as you know the circuit really well. And taking off the racing line is a lot better for racing against humans because you're not drawn to the line as much. So you can race much more naturally. But GT Sport does that really well, even for beginners, in the sense that they just flash you a brake indicator in the sense like, you should brake right now, without giving you a racing line that you should follow type of thing.
Okay.
So
And I like, especially like when you're in the race and let's say you've got 10 laps, then this one corner, you start going a little bit deeper. Then you're always got to tell yourself, okay, next time I get around this corner, I need to be a little bit before.
Readjust.
And exactly. And it's all race long. And then there's always this one place where you're constantly changing places once you've settled and you know where to brake in a specific turn. There's another one that's going to start giving you trouble. So it's always adjusting and learning how to be precise and constant.
Exactly. And then add in a human or even just an AI where they brake before, and then because of the concertino effect, well, you need to brake faster or at least let go of the gas faster because you're going to run into them even though you brake at the same point, both of you. That's just the way things work. So learning to race with others is a big part of it in the sporting sense.
So, am I dreaming if I tell you that for some reason in GT7 I remember weirdly enough it was like little orange cones.
Oh
that
yeah, you can
when
put
you
cones.
got that like I could like kind of, I don't know if it was meant for that or not.
Yes.
I don't remember. Yeah.
It was your
I know when I get
apexes.
there, that's where I know when I start braking or something like this.
So no, the cones
no?
were for the apexes. So
Yeah.
it
There was
shows you
something about
the little virtual cones. It was one of the assists on GT Sport and GT7. Is it shows you, I think, where the apex of a corner is.
No,
So
me
you
was
know-
before
No,
you hit
it's
the corner.
have the brake
it's different
and then-
points in the racing line, basically.
Like
to
there was
follow.
two cones, then one cone, then there was something about.
How to take a turn, basically. Start here, go there, exit there.
I never
Okay.
noticed the cones.
No.
Because you never had them on. So GT
Makes
has,
sense. Maybe I did though.
What's nice about Gran Turismo is that you can really be a beginner, have all the assists, a complete racing line with the cones, with the brake indicator, and everything like that, or nothing at all. Nothing at all. And you can work your way from that. But to be honest, before GT Sport, I hadn't touched a racing game with a wheel for years before that, and I just turned off the racing line immediately because I found that the brake indicator was just enough
Yeah.
for me.
Because
So-
you know how to race.
Yeah.
You know how to take a curve. I've relied on that racing line for so long that you take it away, I have no, like, it
Well, the main rule usually...
I didn't know how to race either. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know how to be fast on a circuit. That took me a while to start to learn when to put the throttle down and when to brake.
Yeah.
And even when you're racing someone, like you said, even that's a big adjustment.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so guys, the last part that I want to ask is, what's your favorite tracks and cars to race in these games? Like everybody has a favorite
Aston Martin
track, right?
GT3, baby.
Oh, cars or
Yeah.
tracks?
Both.
Okay.
You have a favorite track, a favorite car? If so,
Okay, so
in
favorite
what-
car and favorite track.
Sure.
So that's gonna spoil one of my
So
questions.
let's
though.
start with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Aston Martin Group 3 on in GT Sport and in GT7, and the track is Dragon Trail.
Which one?
Reverse.
Seaside?
Mirror. Seaside, yeah. Seaside
I
reverse.
remember that one.
Yeah.
Such
That's a
a
nice
fun
Chain
track.
of death.
And you were good at it too.
Oh yeah, I was good at it too.
Yes, you were.
Probably why I liked it. But
Yeah.
honest, like that's just I have so many good memories of that car and that track that I have to pick that. But honestly, any GT3 cars, the GT3 cars are so much fun.
Honestly,
They are.
if you want to have a good time, if you can go back to GT Sport Championships, the first few ones, watch a few races. They're insane. The guys are insane. They're following so close, and it's super intense sport races. It's really fun to watch.
Like on TV or like
YouTube.
in this game?
YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube. And they it's it's an esport championship.
Okay.
And I found they were the racing was better than F1 championship.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much for this. Now we have something to maybe go try it, see what this guy feels when he does it.
What about you, Piel?
Yeah.
I really like the Aston Martins too, but I'm also more of a F1 racer. So I think I'll go with. Is it the RB20 or RB21? I don't know which one.
RB20, I think. the latest.
RB20. Well, I'm playing with a Ferrari this year. So I guess let's go with the RB19.
All right,
RB19 would be my favorite, but yeah, big fan of the Aston Martins. And favorite track, gotta go with Spa-Francorchamps.
You it.
It's just I find
hate that track.
it's long, and I like how it just smooths out. Like whenever you take turns, it just flows really well.
That's what she said.
So boring.
It's
Such a
long,
boring
it
track.
smooths
I hate
out
that track
when you
with a
take
passion.
turns.
I don't know why. It's irrational.
Yeah.
I won't share my favorite because it's going to be one of the answers of a later segment. But
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
go with my current, and I would say that racing an F1 in a Williams, pretty much in any track in the world except Singapore. No, to be honest, I'd say Monaco. Monaco is
Thought everybody hated that one.
such a challenge.
Wow.
I need to be in the mood for it, but it's so satisfying to get right. It is so satisfying to get right.
It is.
Yeah, so I'll actually change my answer and go with GT Sport.
Oh,
Well, you don't need to answer.
It's okay. Blue Moon Bay Speedway Infield A.
Oh, that one.
Group B.
Group B. Yeah.
with and that's important.
Sean, yeah. Group B.
That is important. Comfort soft tires. And if you don't hate it until you try it.
I played it with you guys, and it is so much fun.
Oh my god.
It is
This is one of the most fun you'll have for
So you know what he's talking about?
Oh, yeah.
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 Jesus.
The best
It's a
was
thing. It was a thing.
the
And
best was like starting it once we started a racing lobby, and then you
get randoms.
You get randoms, and then we all vote, and then we voted for that, and the one guy stayed.
like
That-
what
We had like what 10 guys or 10 people.
Everybody
I said
Racing
just,
in the end.
we just said
That's so
trust
fun.
it, trust it.
Trust it.
Some left, some stayed, and yeah. Go ahead.
And they were like, again after. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super fun.
Well,
It's
now I'm
basically
curious.
it's basically the a short track of an oval. So it's like an inside. There's kind of turns, like a half oval plus some turns on the inside. But you're playing it with
Rally cars,
and you're putting like comfort softs are basically like more sticky tires of regular cars on the road. So you're like drifting around
around
on
it.
asphalt.
It's like-
it's super fun.
yeah, it's like a drift racing because you are going fast in most of the places.
Yeah.
It's just when you're taking the turns, you
yeah.
can kind of drift a little bit. So fun.
Yeah, it is.
Great.
We got to play it soon.
we have to.
I'd be down.
Well, thank you guys, and I will finish with my answer here, which will surprise you. It will surprise you because in F1, right? I have very specific, like I was saying, the tracks that I prefer, like Bahrain, Montreal are the ones.
Montreal's fun.
The ones I'm going to
It is.
name are the ones
They're
I've
good,
played the most, right? That's why I like them. It doesn't really matter which one I did. If I played it a lot, I probably like it now. So the ones I'll name are the ones I've played the most, probably. So Bahrain, Montreal, Spa, and Red Bull Ring. Those are my favorite. And ever since Singapore, no, was it Jeddah? Saudi
yeah,
Arabia, the one we did last week.
Jeddah is very
That
fun.
was fun.
Oh,
like
yeah,
by the
Jeddah's
end, when
fun.
I got the hang of like
But
when you started, that was pretty cool. And you're so narrow. There's this feeling to it. I really like that.
and you always get closer and closer to the wall, and I
Oh,
think that's what's
yeah.
really fun about it.
F1,
Once you
yeah.
start flowing,
Yeah.
and it just, oh my god, Sector 1, once
Especially-
you get, it's crazy. You come in with so much speed, so close to the wall.
Especially with your rigs where you feel it probably way much than I did, and I felt like I felt it really well.
So with our rigs, what's fun is that you test the limits, and sometimes you can actually feel the difference. You start feeling losing it, and you correct, like you see on TV
Yeah.
and F1, and you feel your car going sideways, but you can actually correct. Whereas with the Logitech, once you're at that point, you probably lost it. But
Yeah.
we've saved so much of
Really?
our moments with the more precise
Okay.
rigs, which is normal, I think.
It's cool. It's a good feeling to catch the car.
Exactly.
So between those four, none of them is my favorite, because at the end of it all, I will go with totally off the board. My favorite time using my rig was Wreckfest.
Oh my god.
Destruction Derby. Just a normal, we're in an oval, Destruction Derby
totally
using
normal.
my rig.
You've played Wreckfest?
Oh yeah, and I can go
It's so fun.
backwards and like,
I've played it. I didn't know you've played it.
oh yeah.
So, by the way, don't play Wreckfest with this kind of rig.
no.
It's gonna destroy your wrists.
Yeah,
Oh,
turn
probably,
down
yeah.
down the force feedback.
Yeah,
at
for
that
sure.
Point.
But Wreckfest, and one of the reasons I loved it so much, it's because me and one of my sons played it all the time. He was so little and sitting on me and playing that, and I played
nice.
so much with him, and we had a blast. So it brings back a lot of good memories, and so that's the one I had the most fun with. So that's the
there
one
you
that
go.
wins.
That's a good choice.
That's a good.
I was
yeah,
never a
very good.
fan of crash derbies.
no, it's so fun. You
Games.
crash.
I love to watch it. I absolutely love to watch it. I am not good at it. I'm
No.
terrible at it.
Yeah.
So guys, this was it for sim racing. Hope you had a blast. I had a blast listening to you experts talk about it, and I know that you probably have a lot more to say.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Nothing's stopping us from doing something in the future. No, it's over.
Are you, are you saying it's time to take a break?
It's time to take a break. This guy gets it.
Yeah, there you go. Let's just say
That's
I
it.
shifted into another gear for this joke.
Oh, nice.
Zingers.
Nice. Guys, thank you. So let's finish this right here, boys, by raising our empty glasses to the end of this podcast. But after this, we're actually staying and recording some bonus segments. One of them maybe being a player profile on our pretty cow person over here, Gab. And the other one, we're going to talk about GameVerse Club. So stay tuned in the other bonus episodes of this.
Is it too late to crash your ending?
Do what you want.